95.9 FM, WATD, the South Shore's Morning News. Thanks for taking us along. We are here every weekday, 5 to 10. I'm Rob Hackala. That's Beth Foster. The text line's available if you have a question or a comment. We enjoy hearing from you. 781-837-4900, 781-837-4900. All right, it's time now to check in with the doctor. Dr. John Hayes has promised he joins us every week at this time. For a better experience at the doctor's office, try Dr. John Hayes' new highly personalized and affordable direct primary care practice. Find out more, drjohnhayesjr.com. That's drjohnhayesjr.com. And the doctor is in the house, Beth. Dr.
Happy
Hayes,
to be here. Good morning, Rob. Good morning, Beth.
Great to have you in here. Yeah. And Memorial Day is come and gone, and so that's the unofficial start to summer, and we are going to dive into summer activity choices. Yippee!
We are, for sure. But before we do that, just a couple thank yous. Last week's show touched a lot of people. We were actually getting calls at the office during the show. So I want to thank everybody that called.
About ticks?
Well, about becoming members of the practice and that type of thing.
Okay.
So, just to remind people, so when you take a look at the cost of your out-of-pocket health care, and you think that direct primary care is expensive, you add up what it costs you to go to urgent care, what your other fees are, everything else adds up to.
I'm nodding.
And at the end of the year,
so true.
I know.
Yeah.
So anyhow, we appreciate everybody reaching out, your questions, concerns.
That's good news.
Yeah, my staff's more than happy to help you too. So just reach out.
All right.
Give the office a call if you want to talk. I'm more than happy to.
That is amazing.
That makes us feel happy.
I'm going to give the number right at the end of Dr. John Hayes' segment. So if you're with us right now and you don't know it, I will read it for you a couple times. But you can find it on his website. But get ready. I'll read it at the end. But so I guess we are going to talk about the great things to do in the summer. This is a time for people to really sometimes become definitely more active and sometimes stretch their limits.
Well, that's a really good point, and that's a great place to start, because one of the things that we tend to do, especially after winter like this, and even now where we still have clusters of days that are not as nice as others,
I know.
It becomes difficult to maintain regimens. However, there's some new research that indicates that we don't have to be as crazy about exercise as we once thought. So we talked before about how we now know we can manage blood sugar with shorter periods of activity than we ever imagined, which can make a big difference because it all adds up at the end of the day. And interestingly, we used to say that, okay, so if you're going to train, you'd have to go out and you'd have to exercise continuously for so many minutes, blah, blah, blah. Well, now we know that actually taking stops while you're exercising and then going back actually causes more metabolic stimulation than continuously beating ourselves up.
Wow, that's great to hear.
Probably slows down the wear and tear process on the body.
Yeah, because, whenever I worked with personal trainers, it's like they want to go from rep to rep.
Right.
And so, I think it's nice to take a beat.
Yeah, no, seriously. I mean, look, it all depends upon what you're doing.
True.
Hard, easy days, alternating training, that type of thing.
You're right.
And that along with consistency is key. Because the biggest issue we have as human beings is being consistent with habits.
Discipline.
Yeah, it is. And so we have to make adjustments this time of year. Sure. Do we have more options? Generally, yes.
Yeah.
So, we talk on this article here about, swimming, hiking, walking, that type of thing. For most people, walking is good. Yep. Intermittent jogging or running is also good. Longer running, if you're a distance runner, that type of thing. Yeah. And swimming, if you like it and that's what you enjoy, then, that's what you should do. Again, the way we maintain our habits by doing stuff that we want to do and what we like.
Right.
So figure out what you like and start thinking now about what you're going to do in the winter.
Yeah.
Don't wait until fall comes because
if you
you're
don't
stuck.
like jogging and running, then don't keep trying to be pressured into that.
Do
it
something
just might
different.
Not be for you.
Yeah, exactly.
People either love it or they don't.
Exactly.
And there's so many great hiking trails around here. The walking is great.
Yep.
We know that's a little bit less. And my grandfather used to like to jog until they finally said your knees, sir, do not jog anymore.
Oh, no.
Because he had a lot of knee problems. There's a lot of impact. So, but cycling, I'm thinking about getting a new bike.
Ooh,
you know what?
should.
Exactly. And so, outside time, whenever you possibly can. We've spoken ad nauseum about the benefits of red light exposure. Sunlight it's absolutely enormous. One of the biggest things we've got to do is get more outside time.
Totally. Right. Definitely.
Yeah, that's what it all comes down to. You've talked a lot about that, about just getting outside, no matter, I guess, what activity it is. As long as you're moving.
And there's tons of research on that. Tons and tons of tons. So, in any event, swimming, hiking, walking.
I think definitely, getting into an exercise that you can do safely and then consistently throughout the year. So, so it transfers over easily into an inside setting during the winter. And, like, let's remember fall is absolutely beautiful. You're going to be able to keep doing what you're doing.
Exactly.
Into September, maybe even through September. Swimming gets a little bit dicey towards the end of September, but I am swimming in mid-September. I will be. Like, the ocean's very warm at that point.
Yep.
And so, Rob, if you get a new bike, just make sure that you can, maybe have a Peloton at home or you go to a gym with cycling inside of it.
Put the bike on a stand inside. I did that for years,
and
so that's an option too.
Dr. John, I always remember you're always at the back of my mind because sometimes I'm in the gym and I'm like, oh, I need to do like a little bit more. I need to push harder. And then I'm like, if something doesn't feel right or it feels like it hurts or if I feel like I'm pushing myself too hard, don't go any further because you're just going to, hurt yourself.
Stop.
And that's going to keep you back even more.
Exactly. There's a really good rule in orthopedics called the rule of no pain and free movement. If you can move the joints freely and you're not having pain, it's likely safe. If you have pain during an activity, it's a warning sign. So be careful.
That's what I remember.
Yeah, be careful.
What about, too, when you're out and you're doing the exercise, make sure if you're going on a long bike ride, bring along the water bottle. Right?
Yes.
Exactly. Hydration, really good hydration. This time of year especially. We've spoken about this before, and I still do every single day. One of the best rehydration methods is apple juice, 50% with water, with a little pinch of salt. We're seeing too many people with two things. One is hyponatremia, low sodium from too much water intake. And then two, electrolyte imbalances from all these, whatever electrolyte drink you're doing because
Dr.
it's
Hayes,
the latest thing.
I'm going to drink Gatorade. I'll be okay, right?
Well,
Gatorade has a lot of sugar in it.
It does. It does. You want to just be careful because, I've spoken about this numerous times. I cannot emphasize it enough. It helps dramatically.
Yeah.
I know.
It's inexpensive.
I remember I hiked, 25 miles of the Appalachian Trail, and I did at summer camp, and, they're very... they make it very apparent that you can overdose on water.
Totally.
So you should definitely, be wary about that. And I guess an overdose of water, it thins out your blood, so you feel a little bit drunk.
You can actually, and you can get lightheaded. You can fall. So it's something to take serious.
That's very serious.
And then
seriously.
There's a reason why trail mix is so popular while hiking. It's pretty nutritious. You got dried fruit, you got nuts that gives you the salt too. That little bit of chocolate gives you that sugar buildup. So it's like, don't be ashamed to bring snacks with you. I'm very
completely.
pro snacks.
Absolutely. Makes a big difference. Endurance, how you feel, mental acuity, all that stuff.
How do you feel about the goo? All those runners like the goo and the gems.
What is that? What is that?
So goo is like they have packets of goo. It's very popular for endurance running and hiking.
What is it?
Having formerly been an endurance runner, I can tell you it has significant value.
Okay.
It's significant because the amount of calories that you're burning, it can help with hypoglycemia, low blood sugar during long endurance runs, but that's different. That's different than most activities.
Right. So like if you're, doing a casual hike, you don't really need a goo.
Right. High intensity is very different. Very, very different. Different requirements and that type of thing. Of course, you still have hydration, fuel requirements, and fueling during the event, like you say. That's where that's the most valuable.
For sure.
Yeah, boy.
So otherwise, just be careful.
All right, be careful out there. And I imagine, is there anything that you would advise people before they start an activity or anything?
Well, come in and get checked out.
Okay.
If you haven't, no, seriously, if you haven't had a routine EKG, even if you're asymptomatic, to check for heart issues, and/or routine blood test and a good physical examination, just do it.
Right.
Seriously.
Yeah, why
Save
not?
yourself a lot of grief.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good advice. All right, you ready to do the Appalachian Trail again?
I do want to do the whole thing.
That'd be
Cool.
I would love it.
Yeah. Awesome.
But it takes a lot of practice and planning.
Training.
It takes a lot of training. Yeah.
For sure.
Oh, boy.
I kind of want to just jump into it. No, that'd be a bad idea.
That's the thing.
Bad idea. I'd give up in Georgia. I'd be like 2 miles in. Because I will say, when I did the 25 miles, I was about 16 years old, and it was tough on a 16-year-old.
absolutely.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it. Yeah. It reminds me of those Mount Washington hikes. Yeah, it was
Exactly. Planning, training goes a long way.
I know, but me and my friends have been floating it around.
No, I love that idea.
It sounds like it's so beautiful.
It is. Absolutely gorgeous.
Well, text or chat with Dr. John Hayes before you hike the Appalachian Trail or any activity. 781-659-7989. 781-659-7989. Dr. John Hayes' office is located in Marshfield, and you can check out the blog at drjohnhayesjr.com. drjohnhayesjr.com. Thank you, Dr. John Hayes.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Beth.